Well, we're deep into it today. We've been interviewing entrepreneur after entrepreneur, and that's all we do here on obviously Radio Entrepreneurs. My name is Jeffrey Davis. I'm the host, also CEO and founder of Mage LLC. So when I'm not talking to entrepreneurs on the radio, I'm talking to entrepreneurs as a consultant. So I guess I'm addicted. And the next one, new to my list, is Eric Haddenhorst, CEO of No Cow. I love the name No Cow. There's an ice cream product called No Cow. I don't think that's you, is it?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Not quite. No Moo. I don't know. I have to go back and check it.
Thanks for having me, Jeff.
Tell us about No Cow.
Sure. So No Cow is an emerging plant-based protein brand. We make plant-based protein products with zero compromise. So awesome taste, amazing nutritionals, clean ingredients. We started in protein bars. We now offer protein powders, and you can find us in Amazon, on our website, and now in over 20,000 retail locations.
I had one of your bars last week.
What'd you think?
I was actually kind of amazed.
That's great. That's what we're going for.
A lot of times I try these bars and I'm like, I feel like I'm eating sawdust. And if I'm correct, it was a sort of peanut butter-ish bar, and I'm addicted to peanut butter. And I chewed into it, and I was like, "Wow, this one's pretty good. I liked it."
That's exactly what we're going for. A lot of protein bars don't focus on taste, and that's been kind of our guiding North Star is taste first and foremost. And then we give you all the nutrients, all the macros that you want as well. But taste is always our guiding star. So I'm glad to hear that.
Well, I grew up in the food business. I like to consider myself a self-proclaimed expert at branding, not totally self-proclaimed, but I really do think you did a good job. I think the name is very compelling as well. How did you get into this business?
Yeah, so I met our founder back in 2016. So he was about a year into founding the business, and he founded it for a personal need. So he's lactose intolerant, and he has a specific difficulty digesting whey protein. He's one of those fitness freaks, works out all the time, counts his macros, that kind of thing. And he was trying to eat protein bars and they were tearing up his stomach. And so when he went to go find a solution to that, a dairy-free protein bar, there just literally wasn't anything on the market that wasn't either covered up in sugar or, like you mentioned, tasted like sawdust. And so he set out to create something for a personal need that has now evolved into a solution for the majority of Americans who are looking to at least avoid dairy in some way, shape, or form. And so I met him in 2016, and he had, launched his product in GNC and Vitamin Shop, and he was looking for help, and he was looking for a little bit of capital. I was an investor at the time, and since then we've become close friends, obviously business partners, and we've just evolved to work side by side in the business since then. And really trying to take this thing from the niche kind of specialty retail segment that he focused on into, a mainstream product built for the masses.
You're in one of the most explosive brand categories that I can think of in the United States without marijuana. And unless you have that coming too, the marijuana bar. But I'm really interested in what it's like to be inside your company, because every week I go into stores and there's a new product. There's, monk fruit, stevia, you name it. There's a whole new sweetening product. There's a whole new process of doing stuff. It must be really tough because I've rarely seen a category evolve so quickly and products change so quickly on the shelf.
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. It's one of the most difficult categories because it can be somewhat easy to get into. And like you said, there is a ton of brands on the shelf, and it's a really big shelf. On the flip side, the advantage to that is that there is opportunities for a brand like ourselves, who is a smaller but rapidly growing brand, to go get new distribution and add more retail stores and even find places within the store to put your product. You're not limited to a freezer where there's only a few spaces for some big brands. You can put your product in the aisle, you can put it at checkout, you can put it on an end cap. So there's lots of places for your product, which gives you some opportunity. And to your point, there is just incredible innovation in the category, which is good and bad. It creates a lot of competition, but we've found a really specific niche, and we were fortunate enough to be first to market in plant-based within protein bars, that we've enjoyed some really nice differentiation in the space. So it's tough, but it's also super exciting.
My wife is, for full disclosure, one of her degrees is in, she's a graduate of a culinary institute, and monk fruit is, I find it very hard to work with because it's so sweet.
Yep.
You get the monk fruit bars, and I understand the benefits of it. It's also harder to get hold of. It's expensive, but it's hard to control the sweetness of it. Again, you have to be a scientist to be in your business, correct? I'm making this a little bit more self-serving. Talking.
It helps to be a scientist, but you would be surprised how much you can learn just from messing around with some ingredients. That's how we got our start. That's not necessarily how we've optimized our product. We have used food scientists to take our product from what I would call beta version, where it tasted a little bit more like sawdust, like you mentioned earlier, to what it is today. But it's interesting. We use a blend of sweeteners, one of them being monk fruit, one of them being stevia, and one of them being erythritol, and each of them have some advantages and some disadvantages.
Right.
But when you combine them in what we think is a really awesome blend, you can really replicate the taste and texture of sugar, and that's what we're really trying to do. But you're right, it's really difficult to work with them, and it does help to have a food science degree for sure.
Well, there's no doubt about it. You have to do that. But again, since I said it's such an explosive category, not only do you have to be innovating all the time, but you have to be fighting off competition. Are there other categories that you're looking to get into as well? Because I know now people are looking at line extension into drinks, into meal drinks. I mentioned earlier marijuana drinks, marijuana bars. I mean, everything is exploding, and I'm just wondering what you've been thinking about.
Yeah, so we view ourselves as a plant-based protein company, and specifically for consumers that won't sacrifice taste and are looking for really good macros. So they're not willing to have a bunch of sugar, they're not willing to have a bunch of carbs, and we want to deliver that in any form they want to get it. And so protein bars was, like you mentioned earlier, it's an easier starting place to break into. So that's where we started. We have since launched protein powders. So that's more of an at-home smoothie mixing occasion for our consumers. And we are also looking to get into other formats. You mentioned a couple of them. One of them being more of a snackable treat format. So think little mini cookies or little peanut butter cups or similar items like that, where you can have an indulgent snackable experience, but do it by getting some protein and reducing sugar. And then at some point in our lives as a brand, I do think we might get into ready to drink shakes at some point, but that's a little bit further down the road.
Interesting. And where are you guys located?
Yeah, we're located in Denver in the Rhino neighborhood.
And how many, you say you have the partnership, how many people are in the partnership?
Yeah, so our founder, Daniel Katz, still owns, the biggest part of the business. So still the biggest individual shareholder. And then we have a group of about 4 investors behind us that have a mix of CPG or food development or even technology experience that have been really helpful to have on our cap table.
All working in the business, or are you one of the few?
So I was one of the few. We were when I was on the investor side, we were one of the earliest investors, and we were really hands-on. And when we invested, there wasn't a ton of support for the business. It was basically the founder and a couple of part-time employees. And so I jumped in, rolled up the sleeves, and that's really how I got so close to the founder and became such close friends with him. And since then, I've made the transition full-time and obviously now taken over the CEO role. But since then, our founders have been helpful, but not involved in the day-to-day.
Great. If somebody's looking for you, No Cow, I'm sure, I could have asked you a lot more questions. And I'd love it if you can come back again. How would they find you?
Yeah, so we are an omni-channel brand, which means we're in physical brick and mortar stores, but we're also found online. And the way I like to think about it is if you want to try No Cow, specifically our protein bars, the easiest way to do that is go to a retail store like a Vitamin Shop, a Whole Foods, or a Target, and you can buy 1 bar or you can buy, a 4-pack of bars. So a super easy way to try our bars. And if you like it, go back online and you can buy a 12-pack of bars or become a subscriber. So that's the easiest way to find No Cow.
Again, we've all very exciting category. We hope you come back again, and remind everybody this is Radio Entrepreneurs.